Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. I've got great news. Mistral just dropped a new model just for coding. So let's find out what Codestral is all about. So it is an open weights model specifically for code generation tasks. So it seems to be capable of both doing instruction chat, so you can ask questions and answer, and also code completion. That means is, so for example, if you have like an extension in your Visual Studio Code like continue, this would allow you to ask questions to the Codestral model, and also you can use it to like code complete. So when you're writing code, it would complete it for you. It's fluent in 80 plus programming languages. Going back to feature where it can do instruction and chat completion is actually good feature, because previously I have tried to use the same model for completion and instruction and it fails. So usually what you need to do is run two models locally, one for instruction chat, another for code completion. This kind of solves that problem, so you can do both with the same model. Let's look at the sum of the benchmark. Also to note that it is a 22 billion model. On HumanEval, it scores 81%. Better than Code Llama 70p, DeepSeekCoder even better than that, and better than Code Llama. It has a largest context length of 32K, which is really good. But that also means you need more memory on your computer, at least on your GPU. But before we move on to other benchmarks, let's look at what HumanEval is. Let's have a quick look. Based on the abstract from the HumanEval paper, which was submitted on 7 July 2021, what it is it's an evaluation of synthesizing program from doc strings. What that means is like to test how good your LLM is to take an instruction and convert into code. Extensions like GitHub Copilot, you can write comments and press enter, and the extension will write the code for you. So that's what HumanEval benchmark is about. At the release of this paper, GPT-3 was able to solve 0%. Whereas GPT-J was able to solve 11%. What they also found is if you give the same instruction to your model 100 times, eventually out of the 100 it would solve it. Using that method, they have managed to solve 70% of the benchmark problems using their own model. Coming back to Codestral, on HumanEval, they have 81% success rate on first pass. So let's look at the second benchmark, MBPP, which they do not have the highest score for. The highest score currently belongs to DeepSeekCoder, 33 billion. Their score is quite not bad. It's at 78%. So let's look at what MBPP is. MBPP stands for mostly basic programming problems, and this benchmark contains 974 tasks. This benchmark measures a model's ability to write short Python programs using natural language description, which is kind of similar to HumanEval. These 974 tasks are designed to be solvable by entry-level programmers. So coming back to Codestral, it has a score of 78%. So essentially it means 78% of the time it can solve entry-level programming tasks. So now let's check the Crux Eval. So the Crux Eval stands for Code Reasoning, Understanding and Execution Evaluation, and it consists of 800 Python functions. In this benchmark, they provide 800 Python functions that can range from 3 lines to 13 lines of code. This benchmark serves two purposes: to do input predictions and output predictions. What that means is, given a function to an LLM, you can ask what should be the input, or what can be the input to this function. Then you can also ask, given this function and these input values, what should be the output. It is not mentioned in the abstract of this paper, but I believe the 800 Python functions that they have provided are pure functions. A pure function has 4 properties. The first one is no side effect. It does not have any external dependencies, and it is deterministic. So for the same input, you always get the same output. Also, it doesn't do any IO operations or reading writing to the console network file system, and it does not change the input. So given that Codestral have a pass rate of 51%, such that it can determine the input based on the function, or if you give it the input and the function, it can determine the output 51% of the time. So now let's check out Repo Benchmark. So Repo Benchmark focuses on retrieval, code completion, and pipeline, where you have multiple files, because most of the other benchmarks focus on a single file. Whereas with Repo Benchmark, it tries to deduce how good an LLM is in finding out dependencies between different lines of code. So looking at the Spider score, Codestral has a pass rate of 63% on Spider benchmark. It seems a Spider benchmark is measure an LLM's ability to convert a text into SQL. And it seems currently Llama 370 billion performs the best when doing text to SQL. The next score is for HumanEval FIM, which is fill in the middle, and it is get a really good 91% rate, which is really good. And they have HumanEval average of 61%, That means across several languages, it has an average of 61% pass rate. Another thing to mention that they only comparing themselves to other open weight models, which I like. So there is no point comparing themselves to GPT-4, which you cannot run locally. The next table they have provided is for HumanEval for different programming languages. Codestral has a high score for Python, 81%, 65% for C++. Seems Llama 370 billion has 67%, surprisingly. Very close to DeepSeekCoder. On Bash script, 42%, good score. Java, 63%, slight improvement compared to other models. PHP, 68%, decent improvement. TypeScript, 68%, and seems Llama 3 again seems to be better on TypeScript, which is weird. Next is C#, 43%, that's not good. Again, Llama 3 70p takes the cake on that one. On average, 61%. The next table they've provided is Python for HumanEval, fill in the middle, 89%. Really good compared to DeepSeekCoder, 33 billion. That's really good. 95% compared to 82% of DeepSeekCoder. Again, really good improvement there. Decent score on Java, going from 86% of DeepSeekCoder to 90% of Codestral. Impressive, really good scores here, and on average from 78 to 91%. So the next thing they have done is released under a new license. It's called non-production license. Let's have a look at that. The next they have mentioned that they're releasing a new endpoint, Codestral.mistral.ai. This is specifically for code completion in your code editors, like doing instruction chats or doing fill in the middle codes. It's free for the next 8 weeks and is behind a waitlist. Usually free means that you are the product, so likely they would use the input for further improving their model. So it seems that Codestral is also available on their platform endpoint, and they're also really doing a Codestral chat version endpoint where you can do a chat. And also they're announcing Codestral is integrated into Llama Index and LangChain starting today, and it seems they have also been working with Continue.dev, which is Visual Studio Code extension, and Tab9, another Copilot alternative. And they have gone one step further, provided YouTube video on how to use Continue plugin with Codestral, and another video for using it with Tab9. So now let's have a look at the new license. They have introduced non-production license. So they say they still believe in openness for AI, and that's what they're looking forward to in the future. But they're also saying that other companies have built successful products using their models, which is good news for the user, but not for Mistral themselves. So that's why this time they're introducing a new non-production license, which kind of makes sense. So I asked ChatGPT to summarize the non-production license. So it says this license cover use, modification, and distribution Mistral model, and that by using the model you accept this license, you are allowed to redistribute only if you keep this license. So you can use it for testing, research, personal, and evaluation in non-production environment, no commercial use. So if you want to do commercial, use it for commercial purposes, you need to obtain a license. Or if you're a company, you can simply use their endpoint and just pay them per token. They have updated their pricing page, and for Codestral 2405, input token is $1 per million input tokens and $3 per 1 million output tokens. So looking at Hugging Face right now, it's available under Mistral, and also 4-bit quantized version on MLX community, and 8-bit also an MLX community. These are for MacBooks. I just checked these repositories, and there doesn't seem to be any model here. It seems to be just placeholder created for now. I do plan to test the Codestral model in a future video. It seems there are no quantized version available right now, but I have recently just introduced a video which shows you how to convert a Hugging Face model to a quantized 4-bit version if you need to. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.